Imagine a time when flipping a switch in a secluded African village no longer wakes the grumble of a diesel engine, but instead summons a silent wave of energy flowing wirelessly through the air, powered by an invisible system envisioned by Maxwell Chikumbutso, a Zimbabwean inventor whose dream to electrify the continent without a single laid wire is becoming a living reality. Growing up in the crowded neighborhoods of Harare, Maxwell was not given privilege but possessed a relentless desire to understand how things worked, spending his youth dismantling radios and televisions out of pure fascination and a determination to find better, freer ways to solve problems that traditional education couldn't teach. When he first claimed he could transmit electricity without cables using proprietary circuitry and electromagnetic resonance, many scoffed and dismissed him as an idealist, yet today that same vision powers homes in remote villages far from any grid, changing lives where wires have never reached. His wireless charging system is more than just an innovation. It represents a radical new direction for Africa's energy model, bypassing centralized grids and instead enabling decentralized, self-sufficient communities where power moves invisibly, safely, and sustainably through harmonized frequencies and finely calibrated resonance nodes.
The system operates through a network of robust transmitters, built to scale and endure, which emit energy fields designed to resonate with household receivers, transforming ambient waves into practical power in a process that might seem magical to first-time users but is the result of years of dedication, testing, and a spiritual belief in his mission.
Already operational in rural Zimbabwe, the technology supports community hubs where computers run, clean water is pumped, sewing machines stitch, and school children charge their tablets, all without plugs or wires, turning what were once energy deserts into thriving centers of opportunity. Every successful installation brings Maxwell closer to a future where children no longer strain their eyes by candlelight, women are spared long walks to grind maize, and once forgotten villages become cradles of innovation, all because he dared to envision power flowing freely through the air.
The beauty of his system lies in its flexibility, easily expanding from powering single homes to energizing whole districts via interconnected transmitters managed by intelligent software that monitors usage, maintains balance, and responds to needs like a dynamic ecosystem.
Instead of digging trenches or installing massive infrastructure, Maxwell's method places transmitters on existing structures like trees, poles, or buildings and pairs them with compact receivers in appliances, making the rollout quick, affordable, and minimally invasive.
A clinic in Matabeleland was among the first to experience the transformation, running its neonatal unit entirely on wireless power with all essential machines operating reliably, saving lives once threatened by frequent outages or a total lack of electricity.
This entire system runs on renewable sources, mostly solar and kinetic energy, converted through patented components into controlled electromagnetic signals, erasing the need for polluting generators and turning Africa into a model for sustainable innovation. His journey has been shaped by hardship, from battling institutional skepticism and industry pushback to crafting prototypes out of scrap when funding was non-existent. But perseverance and collaboration have allowed him to turn radical concepts into functioning hardware. More than just a technician, Maxwell is deeply engaged with the people his work serves, often present during installations, explaining the system to locals, ensuring community understanding, and training residents to maintain and manage the technology themselves. This participatory approach fosters ownership and resilience, generating jobs, enhancing skills, and transforming recipients into stewards of their own energy futures while reinforcing social sustainability. With each new application, the wireless network's utility expands. Electric bikes, water purifiers, communication towers, and farming equipment all now drawing power invisibly and unlocking productivity in places long sidelined by the lack of infrastructure.
In cities, Maxwell's work is being integrated into modern development plans where public lighting, transport hubs, and digital infrastructure all draw wireless energy, allowing for cleaner, more adaptive urban environments.
Perhaps most profound is the educational impact, as schools now powered without wires give students uninterrupted access to technology, online curricula, and global knowledge, eliminating barriers that once stifled academic growth. The system links to mobile platforms that let users monitor consumption, top up energy credits, and assess efficiency, creating energy-aware communities that are both empowered and informed. While Maxwell draws inspiration from visionaries like Nikola Tesla, his work is grounded in African realities, blending high-tech ingenuity with local culture and an emphasis on dignity, inclusion, and purpose.
His achievements have drawn attention from global organizations seeking to expand the model into other countries, and pilot projects in Kenya, Ghana, and Zambia are already demonstrating its scalable potential. Still, he insists that African innovation must remain rooted on the continent, protected from exploitation, and used to benefit the people who inspire and refine it. Every new transmitter, every community reached, and every child whose eyes light up at the sight of wire-free electricity is another marker on a path toward universal access maintained by teams who share Maxwell's belief in people-powered progress. In places once dominated by darkness and energy scarcity, villagers now gather to discuss new possibilities: digital businesses, solar trade, and community planning, powered not by fuel, but by silent waves, filling the air with hope. Maxwell sees electricity as a human right, and his system is not just a solution, but a statement that Africa has the right to innovate, lead, and define its own future in ways that transcend outdated energy models. And the work does not stop. As every light turned on, every enterprise launched, and every hospital stabilized is another testament to what is possible when innovation meets purpose. As the network expands invisibly across landscapes and borders, it becomes more than a technology. It becomes a movement to redefine infrastructure, sovereignty, and development through locally conceived brilliance. In Uganda's Arua district, schools powered wirelessly have become community centers of learning and pride, with parents once skeptical now stepping in to guard and maintain the system as if protecting a vital village heirloom. In Zambia's copper-rich regions, cooperatives use the system to operate safer, more efficient mining operations, showing how power stability can increase both productivity and worker safety. To overcome delivery challenges, Maxwell's team has created mobile fabrication labs, solar-equipped vans that assemble and install transmitters in rugged, off-grid terrains, combining technical precision with cultural fluency. These deployment units are run by young African engineers trained in wireless principles and passionate about applying their knowledge to bring power to their people, reflecting a deep sense of responsibility. In Ghana's coastal regions, the technology has proven resistant to the corrosive salt air that damages traditional grids, enabling fishers to store and track catches without sacrificing sustainability or requiring expensive infrastructure. Communities once stuck in survival mode are now building apps, launching online businesses, and experimenting with smart agriculture because dependable power has become part of daily life. As success spreads, members of the African diaspora have begun contributing resources and expertise to scale the effort, adding to a shared sense of mission and possibility. Maxwell now advocates for decolonized innovation, urging international institutions to support Africa's path toward leapfrogging outdated models rather than imitating them. In Kenya's Rift Valley, entrepreneurs use wireless energy to run cooperative businesses, pooling resources and reinvesting profits to grow networks that benefit all members.
Urban districts in cities like Kigali and Lagos are incorporating the technology into smart zoning, offering modular designs that reimagine how buildings access and distribute energy. Interest is growing globally, with regions in Asia, Latin America, and island nations exploring the technology to solve their own power challenges without copying Western grid systems. Traditional utility companies continue to resist, fearing disruption, but Maxwell's team is working with legal and policy experts to propose inclusive regulations that preserve the system's grassroots power. Universities across Africa are joining the movement, with students developing new components, materials, and ideas that build on Maxwell's framework and enrich it with fresh energy. At the Harare-based research center, AI monitors the network in real time, fine-tuning frequency and load distribution to ensure optimal performance and quick adaptation to changing needs. To spread the story, Maxwell collaborates with artists and filmmakers who document the impact through songs, documentaries, and poems that make the technical transformation emotionally relatable. Even in refugee camps, floating transmitters provide reliable power to learning centers and clinics, offering both utility and hope to displaced communities. In post-disaster zones, wireless power allows rapid recovery, enabling commerce and education to restart long before grid repairs would have been completed. Maxwell speaks of energy in poetic terms, calling it the Earth's heartbeat, and his team adopts this mindset, treating each installation as a gesture of love and legacy. Satellite imagery now reveals patterns of new light across Africa, not random flickers but orchestrated bursts of empowerment, glowing proof of an idea turned into movement. Next-gen transmitters use fractal antennas inspired by African textiles to extend range and blend cultural identity with technical progress. Around these networks, cottage industries are forming, furniture makers embedding chargers, coders building energy apps, vendors servicing units, powering an entire economy built in midair. Environmental change is evident too, as regions report fewer generator emissions, less deforestation, and a new emphasis on reuse and sustainability in local economies. Once dismissed on the global stage, Maxwell is now invited as a leader in energy forums, where he represents a vision of African-led innovation with clarity and conviction. To preserve the integrity of the system, a foundation manages community-based licensing, ensuring knowledge stays accessible and wealth stays rooted locally. Mobile academies travel with the network, offering technical education and mentorship to young inventors building new tools on the wireless foundation. Plans are underway to merge energy with digital finance, allowing communities to trade credits, build wealth, and turn power into a participatory asset. Maxwell's team is exploring ways to combine energy with satellite internet, creating unified nodes for both power and connectivity in even the most remote corners. Despite his growing influence, Maxwell remains grounded, often revisiting the humble workshop where it all began, still surrounded by the broken devices that sparked his first ideas. This wireless energy network is not just an African success, it is a blueprint for what's possible when vision, courage, and community come together to rewrite the rules of development. So now, as electricity flows soundlessly over hills and homes, through villages and dreams, a once overlooked continent begins to hum with confidence, carrying its own rhythm across the air. And if you listen closely, beneath the quiet pulse of energy nodes and the laughter of lit-up streets, you may hear Africa whispering to itself, saying, "We are ready, we are rising, and we are fully alive."